much of the crypto market has not moved yet. If we look at Bitcoin, it just broke to the downside here in the pattern 1, which is negative, and here in the pattern 2, which is again now negative. So a symmetrical wedge breaking to the downside is usually negative. What we look at here is the measured move of 3%. Now, 3% is not actually a huge move, but still it can bring you to the low 16,000s. Now, what does that actually mean in the crypto market? There are some assets which are already having heavy momentum to the downside, consolidating and then breaking to the downside. So for these assets, you may see further momentum increasing to the downside. Whereas in the entire crypto space, you see some of these coins are trying to stay in green, trying to break higher. All of that is still there. That's one of the important factors. And if you remember, we talked about XRP having the ability to run to test this level of resistance. And right now, we came close to that. Fine. So what's next, right? If you are in XRP, you are looking at XRP, most likely you're going to come back and retest this break higher. And if that retest holds, now you're going to bounce back and test this trend line. Now, that's actually the technical side of it, right? But when we actually look at the general market, there is a lot happening, right? The big guys, the big news, everything is right now turning positive. And it does not actually look bad, because right now when you look at what happened in the history, what this guy was actually giving you, it does make a lot of sense to see like, okay, now this means a lot, right? The level at which the adoption is growing is huge, because on the other side of the economy, you can literally see this free money slowly coming into the market in the name of releasing inflation. So I'm like, if you really want to ease inflation, you don't actually put in more money into the system, right? We all understand that. But then you also see this. They are going to do something. Now, the question of inflation, can it drop, will come back if this actually happens. Because on the one side, they are already talking about an oil price cap and Putin coming out and beating that out. And right now giving this idea. So on the one side, they are actually giving free money to the economy. And the other side suggests, no, we are going to go for real and hard assets, which these central banks are buying in a lot these days. And then when we come back on this one, say, look at what John actually tweeted out. It does make a lot of sense for all of us in this market. And then something old. It's like 2 years old, but still it gives you the idea of how rigged this market is, how manipulated this market is. And that's one of the reasons why in one of our recent videos, we talked about just that. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10%. So as we look through this, we do understand that there is a lot of manipulation, because in this sense, it clearly gives you that idea it should not have been gone through this current SEC scenario, or else both XRP and Ether should have gone through that. Because when you actually come back in the market, we do understand that there are other projects in this market which does not have a final product outside, but they have raised a ton of money and they are still out there in the market. So if you are in that project, SEC may soon follow that. Now, we are right now looking at how things are evolving, and everything from one end to another is giving you that idea. Now, this one precisely show you that Ripple is pushing the adoption. And now look at this one. On-demand liquidity now spans worldwide. The reach is actually huge, and this is just 1 month old article. So when you actually look at this going in to 2023, you and me do have to understand that this is now going through Africa, Argentina, Belgium, Israel, Australia, Brazil, Singapore, UAE, UK. The list goes on, and you need to understand this as the real adoption. When individuals who do not understand this ecosystem or does not take time to learn, say it's only 6 people using this, understand this. This itself is like 6 countries. Now this is like more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 countries. Now we know that it's not that. We have a lot more, including South Korea, right? So there is a lot more on the adoption side of this, and they are giving you this clear announcement of Ripple's ODL solution answers the industry's age-old problem, which is no straw was straw cons. We actually know that. So right now, when they do bring this technology into the market and solve the biggest pain points, which is still in the market, you now have opened a window which has a long room. Now this feels like negative, but anyway, we're coming back into this one. Chris actually highlighted this asset feed, and I'm like, yeah, that's actually true. If you look at these big guys, now if you have a dollar note, go look at this pyramid with a triangle at the top and a big eye like this. It does make sense, like, okay, someone somewhere is doing something in a narrative which has been said there from ages, right? Hundreds of years. And that is something we should keep our eyes on. When this particular group is giving you this idea that they are going heavy into this asset class, at a time when you see people coming out and bashing this particular asset class, saying this is going to zero, you should note what's happening in the ecosystem. And that's why when we look at XRP and we're like, almost 300 million XRP is being moved just last night. And okay, that does give us a little bit more clarity that something is happening in the market. It's not just retailers moving, 10,000, 50,000 XRPs. This is the real movement from institutions. It's about 300 million XRP. So even at the current price, you are looking at $100 million being moved in XRP. So the level of adoption, the growth rate, how this is impacting the targeted market is the most important thing. So as a project, when you see this building a huge foundation and then racing from that foundation, it does mean a lot, because on the other side, we still see a lot more money coming into the market. Now, why does that matter for you and me? Last time when this started, it was like Jan, Feb 2021. But by May, June, we actually hit a peak for a lot of these coins because a lot more money came in different parts of the globe from the governments. Central banks will have to rethink. Now, on one hand, you have to imagine, this is where it gets a little bit crazy. Central banks are raising the rates, meaning they are trying to suck out cash from the economy. They're burning cash from the economy. On the other side, governments are trying to stimulate this. So it's like you're pushing both the accelerator and the brakes together. It does not really make much sense. But you know how things actually evolve, right? They do not care about the normal retail guys. So when you observe these are breaking to the downside, now we are like, okay, this broke to the downside. It can go back up, retest this. If it gets rejected, you are going to look it for $16,000. Now that's Bitcoin, yes, on a short term 4-hour chart. If you look at the same on a daily chart, you're like, okay, the door is still open towards 15,000. Imagine on that short term, your measured move is down. You may drop to the downside, but then you come on a macro. And the macro gives you this. So on this macro, yes, we can drop. And as we drop, Bitcoin can go towards $15,000. And if that's $15,000, which means we have a little bit more room to drop, you will see different assets in the market getting hit. So if we go for TON, which is one of the assets having hard time today, you see that it is dropping. But if you actually look at this, there's a long-term support zone. So buyers and sellers are interested in this asset when it is at this level. So we broke to the upside. We are now coming down to retest. So in that zone right now, you also have both moving average. So by the time the price comes here, you will see both of these moving average inside this zone acting as a support. So it can actually push the price back up towards the all-time highs. So yes, Bitcoin drops and all coins follow that, but you need to look at like, okay, what makes sense? Is it actually dropping to a support as a retest? If so, then you come back here and say, okay, Bitcoin drops here, then it bounces to the upside. So from 15, it can actually go back to 17,500. If that happens, that's a small move in the Bitcoin market, but you will see the altcoins responding positively. Not all of them. You will still have to look at them one by one, looking for a long-term breakout, because some of these are showing you I'm trying to break higher. I'm trying to bounce higher. So long-term trend lines are valid. It should be checked again and again, because we just noticed in last 24 hours, some of these are bouncing off from the long-term trend line, which actually makes a lot of sense because it has done that historically again and again and again. And this time it's still bouncing, which gives you a higher ROI structure to the upside. Even that asset, which is in wave 3, showing you 8 to 10x, is actually massive for anyone in the market. Because right now we do understand, yeah, we are going through this. We did not do much. We are slow. The market is slow. Agreed. But then if you look at this with everything negative happening in the world right now, you are still holding on to this. Even after the FTX scenario, you and me in the market holding into this range is something really great. Yes, the Luna crash did take us down. That was one of the biggest panic moments. But right now, when you look at this, yeah, FTX collapse, agreed, it was not a good thing. But you see the price is still inside this range. It did not actually go lower, making a new low after the Luna crash. So the FTX is still here. We did not drop below this range. We are holding. That's positive, meaning a lot of weak hands has been taken out and now it's people accumulating. So if we manage to break this trend line to the upside, now we will see a new trend. So this one, you made a top. Now it's trying to make a bottom. But if we break this to the downside, that makes this one a continuation pattern. You come down, your momentum is to the downside, you consolidate there, and then drop lower, which is not good. But if you break this trend line to the upside, now, yeah, you do have to break this one, but it gives you a hint that bulls are getting stronger in this market. So keeping that in mind, don't go leveraged. If you go leveraged, understand what you're doing and keep that capital as low as possible, because going with 5 to 10% of your portfolio with a 50 to 100x of leverage, that's nuts. That's really going to hurt your portfolio if there is a small swing in the market against you. So don't go do those stuff. That's the market, right? And now I'm back here in India, the climate, the temperature, everything is different here, and the sound is still slowly getting back. We are not yet there. So thank you for watching and listening. So if you did receive value, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And again, if you have time, please do watch this channel of mine and inform how you felt. This is about the life and how we succeed in life. So that's it for today, guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye-bye.